Hello, everybody. It's Guy. I hope you are well and feeling stable. The world around us is showing signs of falling apart pretty much all over the place. And I don't know what about you, but for me, it's also shown in the technical equipment that I have. For example, my phone just broke, the battery of my computer broke, my washing machine broke. I got a new washing machine. That washing machine also broke. So right now I have a problem with my doorbell, which broke. I had problems with two email accounts. My Instagram account was shut down. It was just incredible. It's just falling apart all over the place. And then, of course, in the world, we see a lot of that happening also. So I really hope that you're at a place where you feel connected. And this is of such importance right now because all the material world that we have gotten used to and which we've lived our lives in up until now is coming to a new level and to a new frequency. So my star people recently told me that it's really important now to not concentrate so much on the material but concentrate on the frequency. So I've spoken about this in other videos also, that everything that we look at as material is actually energy. Just as we are energy, everything is energy vibrating in different speed. So we are used to the material world being energy that is not easily modifiable. So if there's a chair, then I bump into it. If there's a wall, it separates me from the next building or the next room. And this kind of stability is currently falling apart. So the energy is starting to vibrate much higher, and we need to get used to it in that we need to understand that this is energy, and it can be modified just like cookie dough. And this is not something that we've been used to because we also haven't really entertained the fact very much that all the world around us is made from our thoughts and our feelings. And we think that everything around us is just a given. It's the circumstances, they cannot be changed. But that is not true. The reality that we live in has come from creative power that expressed itself through us. And we have the decision which thoughts and feelings we entertain and which thoughts and feelings we discard. So that's where the free will comes in, because creative power is always expressing itself. But if we open our hearts up for negative and destructive and dark feelings and thoughts, then we have the free will to do so. And this is the critical point in this entire shift now, because the divine creative force is harmonizing and healing. And if we align ourselves with that creative force, then what is expressed through this alignment and through us in that moment is healing and harmonizing, because we let that force through. And it's the same when we align with this other force, which is destructive and negative and dark. So when we align with that force, then that is expressed through us, because we as human beings are basically just a channel. We are like um, cable, so to speak, or yeah, to for between the higher levels and the lower level here on earth, the material level. And um, the more creative, harmonizing, divine force we let through us, the more this is expressed in our lives and is affecting those around us also. That means that when we open up to that force, it's stronger than anything else, and the negativity around us cannot gain ground if we are connected to that force. And that's why it's so important right now to align with it, because there's a lot of negativity around, and if we fall into the trap and look at that and think that the material world is nothing we can change and it's just there and it's the circumstances and we cannot do anything, that is not true. That is not true. I woke up last night with a sentence in my head: your perception and feelings are are a reality creating machine. And that is really what it is. We need to really remember and understand that we are creator beings, and that this world comes from our creative thoughts and feelings in the way that we see it. And when we separate ourselves from the dark and the negative and the destructive feelings and thoughts inside of us, then we make way for this divine force to come through. And I can just say that, especially in this time, I don't know what I would have done without my meditation every day. Every day, also during the lockdowns and all that, I sat down and oftentimes, maybe not so often, but sometimes I wasn't in such a great mood. And then when I came out of my meditation, I was completely restored and happy. And really, it is of such importance right now to connect ourselves with this divine creative force, with the divine. And don't really see that often when things are being explained, in the spiritual scene, what is going on and what do we do. And that is really the most important thing of all, because we are just expressions of that divine force. And if we are not aligned, it's like building our house on sand. The material world doesn't sustain us anymore, and it's falling apart all over the place. So right now it's really, really important to know that everything is frequency, and that we ourselves are frequency. And the more we align with the divine, the higher our frequency becomes. And the less we do that, the more we are susceptible to fear, to anxiety, to confusion. Yeah, and so I would really encourage you, find your way to connect with the divine, and give some time every day on a regular basis to sit in that alignment and let that force flow through you. It's like a flower that is not watered, it wilts. And this is our source. This is where we come from. This is who we are. And if we are not connected to that source, we are wilting. And that's what's happening right now. All the world that is not connected to that source is not holding up in the vibrations that are getting higher and higher in this earth. And so it's falling apart. And right now it looks really scary with a lot of things that are being done. But you know what? We are not dependent on the material world. We are dependent on the divine source that creates the material world through us, and we are channels in this. We have the free will, what we align with. So you will always have the protection, you will always have a door that opens for you when you align with that power, with this force. Because it's stronger than anything. And this force is love. Today I was on the market, and I spoke to a couple of people who seemed a bit down. They were selling their vegetables, and I could just tell that they were affected, which is natural. And I talked to them a little bit, and I said, I reminded them a little bit that it's so important right now to really look at what is important in our lives, who is important in our lives, what do we spend our time on, and where does that bring us? Do we spend a lot of time with things that are just kind of like killing time, like scrolling around on social media or playing video games? Or are we doing something that really fills us up? And if it's something that is part of our work or our chore, are we really in the moment? Are we really mindful when we're doing something? Or are we just constantly taken by the chatter in our heads? It is a completely energy that comes out of something when we do it, when we are mindful. If we are scattered and confused and sometimes even, just thinking bad thoughts, all this goes into what we do and affects it. And right now it's really important to understand that we are all frequency. Everything is frequency, and we modify that frequency with our frequency, with what we put in from our own frequency. And the more we understand that, the faster this will be over. This strange, chaotic phase that we're in right now. But anyway, wherever we find ourselves, even if we are in a chaotic phase, if we are really truly aligned with that frequency, with this divine frequency, there's always going to be calm and stillness. There's always going to be beauty, and there's always going to be happiness, no matter where we find ourselves. And because that is the quality of this divine force, you know? And happiness really lies in the simple things of life. Happiness lies in turning your face towards the sun, looking at a beautiful flower, enjoying hearing the voice of a loved one. It doesn't need to be anything huge, If you remember Diogenes in the barrel and King Alexander, who had just conquered the world, and he wanted to be taught by Diogenes, whom he really admired. And Diogenes did not have any belongings. He was lying in a barrel, and King Alexander came to him and said, I will give you whatever you would like. Just tell me what you want me to do, or what do you want? And he said, well, can you just step a little bit aside so I can be in the sun? And this really happens when we are aligned with this divine creative force, because that's all we truly need, and everything falls into place when we are. And I've seen this in my own life, and I've come a long way with that also. You know, it needs regular alignment, and uh, step by step, my um, dark spaces inside were cleared, and another one, and another one. And I just stayed aligned with this divine force. And sometimes it was very hard, but I stayed aligned. I declared my destination. I want to go towards the light. That is where I want to go. That is where I want to be. And nothing will get me away from that orientation. So I really hope that you make up your mind. You know, it's really like a GPS. Because if you declare your destination with honesty and with your whole heart, then you got all the help in the world to bring this about. Because we are not alone in this. But you need to make up your mind. So that's it for today. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.